Ms Legalista here. Welcome to the video. I am a little confused by this state senator who, I guess she's been charged with burglary after breaking into someone's house. There appears to be two different versions of the story going on here. I want to extend her some grace, but I'm a little confused. And I'm going to go over to the CBS News story that sort of captures it all. We're going to read her statement and then actually see, I guess, some of the facts surrounding what the police had to say. And this is why I'm saying this is just not adding up. To me, maybe you see something that I don't see in this article. In this article from CBS News, it starts, Minnesota State Senator Nicole Mitchell, charged with burglary, says she was checking on loved one with Alzheimer's. Now, let me just say this. I have had someone with Alzheimer's in my family, and it is hard on the family. Yes, there is a lot of grace that you have to extend to people because people are in a caregiving position. It can be a struggle mentally and physically to have to take care of someone who has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. But I want to break this down because, like I said before, it sounds to me like there are two different versions of this story that she's putting out here, and I'm just confused as to what in the world is going on. Coming out of Detroit Lakes, Minnesota, a Minnesota state senator now faces charges in connection to a burglary at a Detroit Lakes home earlier this week. On Tuesday, the Becker County Attorney's Office charged 49-year-old Senator Nicole Mitchell with first-degree burglary. It says, according to police, officers were called at about 4:45 a.m. Now, let me just, and this was after the homeowner called 911 to report a burglary. That's sort of the first indicator there that something is going on here, because typically at 4:45 a.m. most people are asleep. Now, usually I'm looking at the gym at that point in time because my gym opens at 4:45 a.m. But typically 4:45 a.m. is when most people are asleep. Police say Mitchell was found inside. They arrested and booked her, and so she's denied the allegations in a statement that she posted to her state senator's Facebook page, which I should just hop over there. But here's her statement. She said, and I'm going to read this statement, regarding the recent news, like so many families, mine is dealing with the pain of watching a loved one decline due to Alzheimer's and associated paranoia. Over the weekend, I learned of medical information which caused me grave concern and prompted me to check on that family member. I entered a home I have come and gone from countless times in the past 20 years, where my son even once had his own room. Unfortunately, I started this close relative, exacerbating paranoia, and I was accused of stealing, which I absolutely deny. Thank you to all my friends and colleagues of both parties for the kind words of support and for trusting my character even before I had a chance to respond. This has been a true tragedy for our family, and my hope is it can return to being a private matter. And again, here, there are a couple of thoughts I have on this. Once you're elected from office, like the privacy sort of goes out the window sometimes. There is this yearning of wanting to know about what's going on in someone's life. In this case, I think hers is a little different because there is this activity that she has now been charged with. But the underlying Alzheimer's and paranoia is a private family matter. Typically, you wouldn't know of it unless you were close to the family and the family spoke with you about it and had conversations with you about what they were working on and maybe some of the challenges or struggles that they were facing. And I say that because, as I said before, I've had a family member who's been in that situation and I have seen it close up. So asking for grace and privacy, I do think is something that people should be entitled to. The difference though here is there's this accusation now that she was taking things that possibly did not belong to her. So let me bring this back up so we can scroll down to some of the rest of this. So that is the post that was on her Facebook page. But then it says, according to the criminal complaint, the home Mitchell is accused of burgling was her stepmother's. The stepmother called police to report someone had broken into her home. When officers arrived, the suspect, later identified as Mitchell, ran into the basement. Now, we always talk about running away as something that shouldn't be defined as a criminal action. Like, just because you ran away from a scene where something was going on doesn't mean you were the person who was doing it. Doesn't necessarily mean you were in the wrong. Sometimes people are just like, okay, I don't know what's going on. I just heard an alarm go up, but I'm getting out of here. Sometimes people are afraid, whatever. But here it was, she was in this home that she said she had been in. She had come and gone for over 20 years. And yet when the police shows up, she runs into the basement. This is what I guess the officer's report is saying. Mitchell was wearing black clothing and a black hat when officers found her in the basement, according to the complaint. They found a flashlight with a sock on it and a black backpack nearby. The backpack contained 2 laptops, a cell phone, Tupperware, and identifying documents for Mitchell. So again, now the running away might present one scenario. If you're in fact running away, maybe she was going downstairs to get something. I don't know what kind of story you put with that one. But when you start adding up the pieces here, the black hat, the flashlight with a sock on it, a Tupperware container. It wasn't, I'm not clear whether or not there was stuff already in it or what was going on there. A black backpack. It just doesn't look good. It just doesn't sound good. It sounds like you were, covering yourself up in this black attire. You were going to sneak in. You got a flashlight, with a sock around it. It just sounds like somebody had gone through some trouble to look a certain way. I don't know if this lines up with her statement that she put on Facebook that she was taking care of someone with Alzheimer's or checking in on someone. Investigators said Mitchell told them that her father had recently died and her stepmother wouldn't talk to Mitchell or other family members. And maybe that's why she was concerned. Okay, so here's the quote. "I was just trying to get a couple of my dad's things because you wouldn't talk to me anymore," Mitchell said to her stepmother during the arrest. Now, this is a little different from the post that she put on Facebook, right? It sounded more like, I'm concerned about somebody who has a diagnosis. I want to go over here and check on them. That's a little different from saying, okay, I'm really like, you wouldn't respond to me and I wanted some of my dad's things. The items Mitchell sought were pictures, a flannel shirt, ashes, and other items of sentimental value. Mitchell allegedly gave the same motive to police, also saying she had just gotten into the house. Another quote, "Clearly I'm not good at this," she said, according to investigators, adding, "I know I did something bad." In times of stress, emotions, or running high, she's doing this at 4:45 in the morning. Because here's my thinking. If you're out at 4:45 in the morning and you've thought about doing this, and I say you put some thought into this because you got the black hat and the backpack and you got your flashlight, so you've put some thought into this, it almost comes across as somebody who was desperate at that point. She really wanted to have some of these sentimental things that belonged to her father, and at this point she was willing to cross the line to get that. It's really sort of sad in a way, because you would hope that people could work things out. So it sounds like there are a lot of family issues going on here, a lot of family tension. If she felt like she had to burglarize her stepmother's house, even if her stepmother was not thinking clearly, that was probably not the best way to go about this. So this whole thing is just really unfortunate. And it sounds like that when the police came, that she said some things, obviously, that, it's hard to kind of backtrack from now when you go into court and the officer testifies that that's what your statement was. So she made her first court appearance Tuesday morning, where she was released from custody with conditions. These conditions include, among others, remain law-abiding and making all future court appearances. Her next hearing is set for June 10th. The complaint released by the Becker County attorney lays out the case of a person who took extensive preparation to burglarize a family member's home. This behavior is unbecoming of a member of the legislature, and this person suggested that she needed to resign. Yeah, like I said before, it sounds like there was some planning that went into this, and that she had reached a point in time where she was no longer thinking as rationally as she probably would have been thinking in normal circumstances. There are obviously some other issues going on. We will stay tuned, continue to watch this, and hope that, like I said, hope that they can work some things out here. Obviously, she made some decisions, not the best decisions. We all make decisions that are not the best decisions. Thankfully, no one was hurt. So now you're up to speed with what's been going on with State Senator Nicole Mitchell. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. Peace.